wanted to thank everyone for coming this evening. We have a couple of guest speakers, so this is more of an event and not an official meeting. We are going to save all questions till the end of the meeting. That way both speakers have an opportunity to speak, and anybody that needs to leave, since some of you folks have traveled a long way, can get on the road if you need to. Our first guest speaker is going to be Mr. David Cross. He is currently the second vice chair of the Georgia GOP. He is running for the state GOP chair. If you welcome Mr. Cross.
Gotcha. Stoker has a question already? Yes, sir.
Make a motion to suspend the...
She said it's not a formal meeting. This is a gathering.
I just opened it up to get started. Sorry.
Okay. Where to start? One thing I've got to have is I've got to have my cup. William, can you hand me my cup? I don't know about y'all, but there's some kind of crud that's going around, respiratory or whatever. I've had it for 3 weeks. I don't have cooties anymore. But it's a lot better, but I'll tell you what, I've never coughed so much in my life, and Sean's been dealing with the same thing too. So we're finally getting better. What I'm going to talk about tonight is the core tenets of why I'm running for chairman. Has anybody in here gotten into the emails that I've sent out about kind of like what's going on? All right, now I understand that the stuff I've been sending out lately, it's had a negative tone to it. All right, what I'm trying to point out is some of the failings, I think, of the current administration. What we're going to talk about tonight is going to be more of a positive message about what my vision and the way I'd like to see things going forward. So if you notice on the logo that I've got, there's 3 words on there. All right. Well, the first one is transparency. The second one is informed. And the third one is growth. And right now, we're going to start with transparency. So with transparency, one of the major issues that I think is affecting the Georgia GOP right now is that you and I as members have access to very little information. We basically hear marketing messages, but we have no idea about the financial health of the organization. We have no idea how many members there are. We have no idea how much income is coming in. We have no idea how much is going out. That's to me, that's a major problem. Every board that I've ever been involved in the county where I'm at, whether it's the Arts Association or whether it's the Boys and Girls Clubs or whatever, or the Hospital Association, whatever it is. One of the things that I've always done is I've tried to make sure that everybody is up to date and receives current information. The other thing I do too is I try to make sure that every single person who's serving on the board is making some type of donation to the organization. Because how can I possibly go out and ask for somebody to donate money if I don't have 100% board participation? So when we talk about transparency, that's one of the starting points. The other thing that seems like it's a really big issue is the whole issue about the Georgia GOP Incorporated versus the Georgia GOP political organization. All right, and I'm going to explain it to you in a way that I think everybody's going to get it. Right, under Title 14 of Georgia law, that's the corporate code. All right. If I want to go start a business, like I started my business, U.S. Asset Management, we do investment management. I had to go register an LLC, USAM LLC, and then I had to adopt, the bylaws of my corporation. And under my corporate rules, if somebody comes marching into my office and says, "David Cross, I don't like the way that you run things here, at U.S. Asset Management," all right. If they're not a client of mine and it's just somebody who's coming in to be a critic, I can say, hit the road. I don't have time for this. I have, other clients I have to take care of. It's my prerogative. It's my business. I own it. I can tell you to get out. And right now, the Georgia GOP Incorporated is run like that. Josh McCoon is the sole member of the Georgia GOP Incorporated, and if he doesn't want to talk to you, he's not going to talk to you, okay? The opposite side of that is going to be the Title 21 organization. And when I say Title 21, that just refers to Georgia Code. Georgia Code Title 21 deals with elections, and it deals with political organizations. All right, if I organize a group under Title 21, then I have members, I have rules, and if somebody wants to come into my office and give me a piece of their mind, you know, as the Georgia Republican Party, if they come in and they're a member, then I have to sit down and listen to them, have a conversation with them, you know, hear them, and thank them for coming in. That's the difference. Title 14 is hit the road, get out of my office. Title 21 is let's sit down and have a conversation. So as it stands right now, the Georgia GOP Incorporated is organized under Title 14 as a corporation. Now we're told that the documents have been filed with the Secretary of State under Title 21, but if you do an open records request with them, they're going to tell you that they can't find any documents, right? There's an easy remedy to that, and that is the Secretary has to be empowered to be able to deliver those documents to the Secretary of State's office, and then if you go out and do an open records request, the Secretary of State's going to go, hey, Ms. Curdy, here's the documents you requested. You know, so it's something that's very simple. It might take maybe 30 minutes to get this thing, you know, corrected, but it hasn't been done, and I think it's you know, it just lacks transparency. There's a legal case that was going on a little while back with John Padgett, the former chairman, and a lot of documents in that case were totally sealed, and nobody has access to them. I'm the second vice chair of the Georgia GOP. I can't see them. And why can't I see them? And it's because the number one member of the Georgia GOP, Josh McCoon, doesn't want me to see them. He didn't want Brian Pritchard to see them when he was asking for them before he got, you know, kicked out. There's no transparency that's going on there. So I want to bring transparency back. The other thing I'd like to do with transparency leads to the next part of what I'm talking about with keeping our members informed. As it stands right now, I get probably 4, maybe 5 emails a week that tell me something's going on here across the country and we want to do the same, or Garland Favorito's case is not going anywhere, and don't you want to help support that by giving money to the Georgia GOP? Now, that was a real email that went out last week. I'm involved in that case, all right? The Georgia GOP has done nothing to help Garland Favorito in that case so that we can see the ballots. The judge has been, we got standing in that case 27 months ago. And so I understand that the wheels of justice turn slowly, right? But the Georgia GOP hasn't, you know, picked up a pen or, you know, typed out anything, you know, to say, hey, you know, Judge McBurney, we'd really appreciate it if you would get this case docketed. All right, so I think it's disingenuous to go through asking for money when it sounds like you're actually informing people, but you're really doing nothing other than asking for money. So 4 or 5 times a week, you get an email with a little red donate button on there. I'm not a big fan of that. What I would like to do, you know, going forward, as far as keeping our members informed, is 1 email a week, tell you something's either going on or not going on, or hey, it's been a quiet week, everything's good. To keep people informed, to tell them what's happening, what is on the horizon, and what can you do about it to help get Republicans elected in your district, in your county, you know, and in the state. To take that a step further, I'm going to create, if I get elected, I'm going to create a radio show that will be broadcast 1 hour each week, and it'll be called Coffee with the Chairman. And that's going to cover the same types of things, but it's going to be in an audio format because, you know, some people like to read, some people like to listen. If it's in a podcast, you know, you can listen to it when it's on the radio, you know, live, or you can listen to it whenever you want to, you know, in the evening or when you're driving to, you know, to go pick up groceries or something like that. I want to make it so that we have information that's accessible. And in order to do that, maybe one week I might have Brian Pritchard interview me. Another week, maybe Roy could do it. Another week, maybe, Wesley, down in coastal Georgia can interview me. But I want to make it so that we have full transparency. They'll be able to ask any kind of questions. What's going on? What's expected in the future? What are we doing to win? What can people do to help? And I just really want to drive those issues home, because that's the key thing that so many people want to know. So I'm in Gwinnett County, all right? And I don't want to disparage Gwinnett County, but one of the things that drives me nuts about whether it's Gwinnett, DeKalb, or whomever, it seems to me that there are a lot more former members of our county Republican parties than there are current members, because people go to the meetings, they look at these things with the Robert's Rules of Orders and all that kind of thing that's going on, they get confused or they get bored, and they say, wow, that was a waste of time, I'm never coming back, all right? We're still running our Georgia GOP like it's 1965, all right? We really need to up our game, make it more interesting. Every meeting that's going on should have a video recorder on it, just like this, so that people that can't participate are able to participate virtually. And as far as being able to, you have to be at the meeting to vote and that kind of thing, I understand that there are some things that we need to have like a live vote on. If you're doing a vote for, a chairman, of your county party or the different positions, that to me should be a live vote. If you're voting on procedural matters and rules and that kind of thing, I honestly believe that we should be able to have some type of debate, some type of like cooling off period, and then a voting by email or electronically. And just make it so that we can catch up with the times so that people can really participate, as opposed to, a lot of times it's very easy to have a county party meeting get railroaded by bringing in a bunch of, my friends, and we're all going to vote this way. I think that's wrong. I don't think we should be doing that. All right, step 3, as far as my vision, as far as what I like to do going forward, is a growth plan. Because I just told you that we have difficulty, I think, keeping people engaged. An engagement issue, I think, we're a membership organization. When I started thinking about a membership organization and how you're able to keep people engaged, I happen to live where the #1 Chamber of Commerce in the country is located. That's in Gwinnett County, all right? Now, 25 years ago, the Gwinnett County Chamber of Commerce was a good old boys club of nothing but real estate developers. And somebody else came along and said, you know what, this is not right. This thing could be so much bigger. We're so much better than this, and pretty soon, before we know it, the county's going to have 1 million people in it, and they're not all going to be real estate developers. So we need to have a little bit broader diversification of people by, age and race and gender and business interests and, political backgrounds, just everything. We need to have a bigger melting pot that's going on there. And true to form, they transformed it. One of the ways that they transformed it was by doing some of the initiatives that I've talked about that I want to do with the Georgia GOP. I'd like to have basically 4 levels of membership. One is basically just a basic membership. If you are a member of your county party, you're going to automatically become a member of the Georgia GOP, all right? There might be a small dues, associated with that, maybe $20. It's going to be something nominal, all right? The second level of membership is going to be young professionals and young Republicans. In that group, what I'd like to be able to do is it's going to be people under the age of 30. When we go to a lot of our Republican meetings, I see that the average age of people in the room tends to be like 70 and older. We really are going to have to really attract in younger people. In order to do that, I would like to have, like I said, this younger Republican group. And for our conventions, I would love to be able to see if we might be able to find a sponsor that can help out with defraying some of the costs for some of the younger people to come to these things, particularly, college kids. Because a college kid is sitting there thinking, I can spend $300 on hotel rooms and food and everything else to go to the Georgia Republican Party, or I could spend $300 going to the beach. They're gonna pick going to the beach every time, every day of the week and twice on Sunday.
Yes.
So I would like to, and I don't think it would be a huge thing, but I want to try and attract those people. A third area that I would love to be able to do is to make it so that if you've attended five state conventions in the last 10 years, when you go to the state convention and you check in, you're going to receive a silver oak leaf. And the silver oak leaf is going to just signify that, you're basically experienced at this process. The silver oak leaf gives recognition to the people that are participating, but it also makes it so that new people that are coming in can go, oh, that's one of those people with the silver oak leaf. They can tell me what's going on, instead of me going back, to the people in registration and asking them and slowing them down, from getting things done. It's all about efficiency and making it so that people can help other people. We don't need to have like 10 people or 100 people on the floor trying to help people figure out what's going on. We can leverage the membership. The fourth level of membership, and something that I'm last thing. If you do get the silver oak leaf, it'll make it so that your fees when you participate will be reduced by 20%, because you deserve to get a discount if you are participating, that frequently. The fourth level, and the one I'm most excited about, is something called the Chairman's Club. The Chairman's Club is going to be something that I envision where if you donate $2,000 or more per year to the Georgia GOP, you're going to be in the Chairman's Club. That's going to make it so that you get invited to special Chairman's Club Chairman's Club only events. All right, it's going to be. We'll have special speakers that will come to those things. It's not just going to be in Buckhead. I want to have things where we have something that's going on in North Georgia, something that's going on in Central Georgia, something that's going on in South Georgia. A particular interest is something like Laura Trump is coming into town. I don't know if y'all got the email that said Laura Trump is coming. She's coming in April. All right. I gave a couple $1,000, or Sean and I gave a couple $1,000 to the Georgia GOP last year. Now, if I wanted to go to the Laura Trump event, we're going to have to come up with another $500 plus $500 so that we can have tickets to go to this event. Otherwise, can't go to the event. I think that's absurd, and I think it's a little bit elitist. What I'd love to be able to have is something where, if we're having an event like that, Laura Trump, or whoever the speaker is going to be, is going to have a North Georgia, Central Georgia, or maybe Atlanta area, and a South Georgia, venue. We're going to make it so that a couple thousand people can fit into one room. And you get to come if you've given $2,000 in the previous year, or if you have participated as a delegate or an alternate in the most recent convention. If you've participated as a delegate or an alternate, you are automatically in Chairman's Club, all right? And when that event happens and somebody like Laura Trump comes to speak, it's not going to be $500 a ticket. It might be $40 or $50 to go to it. Basically enough to cover, your, what do they call it, airline chicken and mashed potatoes, all right? Basically enough to cover your cost for your food and maybe to help defray some of the cost of the venue. And then we can have sponsors that'll be able to be there to say, hey, I want to try and reach conservative people. And there's 2,000 people that are in this place, all at one time. You can charge a lot of money for those sponsorships, all right? Because you are reaching people that are in your tribe. And they are going to be able to reach out to people that are just like them too. So I'm visioning, my vision is a little bit different. And I don't want to take all night talking about this stuff, but I'm really excited about doing this. And I've already reached out to the consultant that worked with the Gwinnett Chamber of Commerce to produce this type of engagement. She's already put together a plan to help with this, and she's gonna, if I get elected, she's gonna be helping out with engagement. I will not be doing everything myself. That's kind of one of my gripes that I have right now with the current administration. The current administration is, is very locked into doing things themselves. All right? I'm going to share something with y'all that I learned a long time ago. I have ADHD. All right? They used to call it ADD, Attention Deficit Disorder. All right? Now, for some people, it's utterly debilitating. All right? And when I found out that I had it, I asked the doctor, I said, how on earth did I get to the point where I own my own company, I'm as successful as I am, and I have ADD or ADHD? And she said, well, some people it's debilitating, and for other people it's a superpower. All right? What it means for me, that drives Sean crazy, is that if I'm listening to a podcast, I can listen to it at 1.5x, all right? At 150% of speed. My brain doesn't melt down, doesn't overheat or anything like that. I'm a multitasker. What I am not fantastic at is the minute details. I appreciate the details, but please don't ask me to do them. I'm the big picture guy, all right? My job is, in leading the Georgia GOP, my job is to put me up above the trees so that I can figure out which direction we're going to. And then I can tell the management and the detail people that are doing the work on the ground, here's the direction we're going, cut these trees down so that we can get to the destination we're going to. I learned a long time ago that the best way for me to put together an equation where me, being the big picture guy, one, plus a detail-oriented person that can help me, and another detail-oriented person. So 1 + 1 + 1 ends up equaling 7, all right? It's a leverage multiplier. In order to do that, in order to use this leverage multiplier, if I become chairman, I want to really get together with my state committee. Right now, the state committee has virtually no role, no responsibility, nothing to do. That's 100 and something people. I find that absurd that we have that much talent sitting in a room doing nothing because nobody knows how to use them. I would love to have these folks take something called a DISC profile. A DISC profile is like a 20-minute assessment. It will help me and it will help them understand what their strengths and weaknesses are and what their communication styles and preferences are. When you do those kinds of things, you're then able to take the answers to those questions, and I can then match up people that are very different from each other, because the problem is if I match up people that are all the same, 1 + 1 + 1 ends up equaling 1. And that's the worst combination you can possibly have. But right now there's no vision on how to build teams and how to lead teams. We've got to have that kind of vision. And the reason why we need to have this transparency, we have to keep people informed, and we have to have growth, is because in 2026, every single constitutional officer is going to be on the ballot in 2026. And in Georgia, the data that I was modeling at the time of the election said that Trump should have won Georgia by 6.7%. He won by 2.2. All right? And he had Trump Force 47. When I met with Steve Gooch and Burt Jones, I said, do you have a Trump Force 47? And they said, no, I wish I did. Do you know where I can get one? And I said, I'm scared you're going to lose. I hope you don't. I hope I'm going to do everything I can to help you win. But I'm concerned you're going to lose, because I'm still concerned about the machines and how they're used to Georgia. And I'm extraordinarily concerned about the fact that we keep losing seats in Georgia. In the last 5 years, we've lost 2 U.S. Senate seats, 19 House seats, 5 state Senate seats. All right? If we keep that up, Georgia's going to go blue in 2026. I can't stand for that. That we cannot possibly let that happen. And the way that that's not going to happen is if we do adopt my initiatives for transparency, keeping people informed, in a growth model. If we do all those things, I think we can attract 100,000 people statewide to be advocates for conservative values, to be able to go out and have conversations with their neighbors so that they can say, this is what we're about. This is what being a conservative Republican means, to me, and what it will hopefully mean for you and your family. And if we do these things, I think that the road that we're on right now with President Trump has the potential, there's no guarantees, I think it has the potential for us to have a fantastic decade with Trump for 4 years and J.D. Vance for hopefully 8 years. So this is a little bit more than a decade. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I need a good decade right now, all right? 2020 was a disaster, and I feel like, in my position and what I do, I have lived through 3 once-in-a-lifetime financial disasters. My dad was a home builder, and I said, I can't possibly be a home builder because of all the ups and downs in there. So I'm going to go be in the investment business. I had the same ups and downs. It was just a different cycle, right? But there were things that happened, like in 2000, 2008, 2009. Everybody in here, y'all saw the economy just shut down. I had friends of mine that worked at Keller Williams that were having kumbaya prayer moments, outside in the parking lot to pray that this thing would end and that somebody would start, moving some real estate. And then we saw what happened with COVID in 2020. We can't have that. But where I'm going with this is that I think that with President Trump's initiatives right now, particularly with what he's doing with the tariffs and with the growth in this country, I think we have the opportunity for that to be really huge. The only way that we're going to lever that is if we keep Georgia Republican so that we can, benefit from that as well too. Because if we don't, and we have Democrats in place, they're going to do everything they can to shut it down. And I guarantee you that with how close things are going to be in 2020, they are doubling down. They're writing bigger checks. They're going to come at us with everything they've got, particularly in the House districts and the Senate districts where people won by just a small margin. I'm reaching out to those representatives right now, those reps and those senators right now, and saying, I need to show you where your weakness is, and I need to show you where your opportunities are with swing voters. And some of those folks have been smart enough to reach back out to me and say, I absolutely want this information, because we've got it, and we can help them. And the only way that we're going to win is if we implement all of those issues. I'm done. Thank you.
Legislature legalized unverifiable voting in 2000.
Like you said to Trump, but they're getting beauty.
He said, go out there and rob these houses and bring back the bounty, and then that'll pay your way.
Because Republicans who get endorsements from Georgia carry that they mean anything.
You can't sit on the sidelines any longer. You must get involved in the game. This is your sign.